Hey guys, I'm Phoenix here, and welcome to the Minecraft My First Reactor tutorial. And here we have an accident. That was my test reactor number 2, powered by 3 uranium cells and reactor, and it all seems to have gone horribly wrong. So, if I wander over and let's get this thing on. So over here we have a standard kind of reactor. It's a reactor block with a redstone input that stops the reaction, and some kind of a power storage thing connected by a copper cable. In here we have a uranium cell, and if I remove this, you see it goes green and starts producing power. As it produces power, it heats it up. When it gets to about 80% heat, things start catching fire around it, to the point where chances are you'll lose your redstone control rod, and it will eventually explode like that one did. I had a bit of a incident earlier on my main one where I'd left the reactor running, and it was a bit of wind scale, so I got the reactor back under control and cooled it down eventually, but it takes time. So in light of this reactor exploding, I'll find a new space and show you how to build a nice simple reactor. Yeah, over here it's about good enough. So, you need a reactor block. We're going to do one with reactor chambers on all sides, like so. Now for best results, surround it with ice and reinforced stone. The ice will help to cool it down. It's the best thing you can surround it with to keep it cool. And the reinforced stone will protect the landscape for when it explodes. Sorry, if it explodes. I'm not saying that yours will explode, but chances are it will. So make sure you've got a base of reinforced stone, at least 1 thick. If you're using lots of uranium cells, you'll probably want to have much thicker stone. So I'll just do this quickly. Then put down a layer of ice. I'm just gonna like so. And then surround the whole thing with reinforced concrete. So you'll have to just do part of this. Now the way you make ice, if you are wondering, put a snowball in a compressor and it will pump out ice per snowball. So 1 ice per snowball you put in. So there we have a basic outline, like so. I'm just going to put a basic control system in. So there's our control rod. And we're going to do something kind of cunning here. Now obviously I will say you can't run a reactor constantly. it will need to rest and cool down every so often. I found using a timing circuit that I'm going to build in a second, you can run the reactor for a lot longer without it sort of exploding and stuff. Right. So after ensuring you've got some way of actually reaching the reactor for the moment, I'm going to stick a glue in here actually. You also need a power storage device as well. Let's just find something big and powerful. That's big and powerful. I'm going to need some of that. And a cable as well. You can use any kind of cable really, depending on how much you're expecting to output, of course. The more cells you put in, the higher the power output's going to be. I'm just filling this with as much ice as I possibly can. Right. Let's right, I think that's pretty much there. So that's going to store my 1 million of power that I'm going to be producing. Inside the reactor, just put a few uranium cells, not too many, but about 2 or 3 is about right. I'm going to put in 2 to start with. And now here, you'll need some track pieces. You're going to need powered rail or holding rail, something like that. I'd say a powered rail if I can find one. Oh, that's a bit boost rail will do. And standard rails. Oh, they're all up here, aren't they? Here we go. Powered rail, detector rail, and a standard rail. Put your detector rail there, your boarding rail, your powered rail, something like there, and then just fill in the gaps. I just have a cart to put it on, and last but not least, just power the rail like so. I've had this problem before. With a little bit of, you'll need to do a little bit of rejigging around with this just to get it right. Obviously there are downsides to using a system like this. If an animal gets in the way of the circuit, then the cut will stop, and you need to do a little bit of rejigging around, of adding a few booster rails and things just to get it sort of so it works, and it should. There you go. So that will run the reactor for about 1 second and give it a couple of seconds rest, and that will produce power coming out of here. Obviously the more cells you put in, the quicker it's going to overheat and explode, so ensure you give it some rest. Now I'm just going to cut off for a second while I set up the next one, and see you in a sec. And we're back. Now I've set up a little thing down here. It's a reactor completely uncooled with 5 uranium cells in, and I've just set up a quick trigger mechanism that will start it up and get me the hell out of here. I've no idea how large the explosion is going to be. I've set up a few walls right the way over there in case it's as big as I don't want it to be. So I'm just going to disable the safeties, which is that one. For those of you that aren't quite familiar with redstone, got a detector rail here. Now as this cart here passes over it, it's going to send a redstone signal down to this one. It's going to fire the cart off down here to the detector rail down there, and which will disable the control rod and start the reactor. Now I did one of these a short while ago just to see quite how long it would take. I think I might put 7 in there, and it was about 10 seconds before there was quite a large crater, so don't know quite how long this is going to take before it goes critical. And my getaway vehicle is this. Now this is a linked cart, so the powered cart and this mine cart are linked. I've got a switch there which is going to send me down that way on high-speed tracks, obviously. Oh, and I should show you the hero of how all this was done. This thing here, which is probably still going. It's a big tunnelling machine thing which you can make with railcraft, and you just fill it full of fuel and drills and just set it off, and it will just move forwards forever, dropping rails as it goes, which is brilliant. So let's get the show on the road. I'm going to need some coal. And then obviously I'll return to the what will be the crater. So Geronimo, and there goes the minecart. Here I go out of it. This is probably one of the worst things about this system, is that you just get a face full of smoke all the time, and you can't really move your camera to get rid of it. And it's even worse. So right, we're probably to a place of safety now, so okay, the explosion wasn't quite as large as I expected, but that's what happens if you don't put any cooling into your reactor and just fill it full of fuel cells. So, I hope this tutorial has been helpful. Hopefully you'll have less issues with nuclear reactions than I've been having, and see you next time. So I'm going to take you over to my second one here, which is on fire.